Hey, you ain't got no red pictures, do you?
One of them is you got a program. One of them.
Hold on.
Good afternoon. Good to know everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome. Thank y'all for coming out. So this is our first seminar, the Degree+3 Program. Y'all hear me good, man?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's on 10 feet, brother. It's on 10 feet.
Wonderful. So yeah, the Degree+3 Program, a partner, Ricardo Rolo, kind of his baby, his innovative idea. And so the objective is to basically encourage home ownership out of college. So too many times, the generation, young people don't know the options when they graduate college. Most times, you don't get up that age, college graduation age, you typically come back home to your parents' house, or you stay out long, or you go straight to an apartment and you pay rent. So the current state of the market, it's like that for some time. The same amount, you'll pay more in rent than you'll pay at home. So and it's not too often discussed and covered in classes in school. So a lot of times, especially recently, you hear a lot of discussions in the chat about not being educated or not being exposed to things through the school system. So we just do something about it, give a solution as opposed to talking about it, right? So I'm going to start talk a little bit about myself. So my name is Kelvin Dunnigan. I'm one of the brokers here at Tad Realty. I've been a broker for, I think, about 6 years or so. I'm also a real estate investor. So, and general contractor. So I'm kind of covering multi areas of the industry. So I started as an investor. We had some conversations about credit, learning about credit, and being a landlord. So that's something I wanted to try. By that time, I already had an apartment and a couple apartments. I didn't go to college, but I moved out when I was 20, 21. I had a few apartments, a good job, all that stuff. We didn't know anything about credit and ownership and stuff like that. So when I got the information, I got my first 2-unit building. So that 2-unit building was actually working out for me. And then on YouTube, you go on YouTube and you listen to different videos, different people, and learn that you can get your broker license. You get your broker license in the class. To get your broker license only costs $300. And and you get your broker's license, you get the commission off of your own purchases. So I get to get the property and get paid for buying my own property. Just make it unheard of, right? So,
Greedy.
so I learned that early. After I bought my first building, I learned about being on license. And then I was referred to this wonderful woman who's here today, Ms. April True. And at the time, she was teaching an actual real estate course at South Suburban College. Now, I'm at 18, AT&T making good money, what have you. I have my own place. And I learned about it. She's teaching a course, which at the time only cost $300. So like, I feel I'm intelligent enough to pass the test. So for $300, I could take a class, get a license, and start making commitment. By that time, I already made a decision I was going to buy the property. So it just made sense to get my license and get commission off of what I know I'm going to be doing anyway. So that's kind of how it started. That was some years ago. Years later, now I have about 6 properties. In the interim, but you meet a few people, met a couple brilliant people who have different advice, different perspectives, and we'll get more into that later as far as how far you can go with investing. But one of the things that I want to get across to those that are here and those that are streaming, control what you can control. I know for the most part, it kind of seems a lot of people get intimidated because you're talking about not owning anything, not even owning a car, to being a landlord or owning a house or whatever the case. And it just seems like a decent credit score is so far to attain. And it's not true. Another point to my story, when I was getting started, everyone said, oh man, fix your credit, get 700. By the time my score reached 700, I started properties in. Once I get the information, then you learn, they'll get the tools. You learn 580 will get you a property, 640 will get you the grant. So it's like a lot of waiting to get 700. Because don't tell them what happened, So control what you can control. That's kind of what I did. You have control over your major purchases. I had to make a decision if I wanted to go buy a car, $50,000, $60,000 car with a huge car note, and then I have to pay it from my income, or I want to keep that, hold that off, and then buy a property. So those kinds of decisions, you have the control over. You have control over the purchases. You have control over, your credit. And the good thing about talking to the young people, college students and graduates, we can get you the information now, early, as you get started. When you talk to older people, more established adults, most times we have to go back and clean up what we messed up. So it takes a little more work. You have to go back and fix some credit, go back and figure out how to save money. By this time, we bought all this stuff. So, it's just much more work. It's much more work and harder for us older. You got to clean up. If you plant the seed early while you're young, then you get the opportunity to get ahead of it and make smarter and better decisions. And the great thing about it is y'all hanging out together on social media, all different things. My son, now they got the video game, you got the headphones on your head. I was coming up on 80 minutes. When I was coming up, you had to go to your friend's house to play the video game with them and spend a night. 7 or 8 was all in the room. And that's how you had to talk to each other to play the video game. Now, as long as we have Wi-Fi, y'all got the headphones on, y'all talking to 10 people around the world playing video games. So now that you have this information, the same 10 people that you on the video game with, whatever the case, now you can spread this information that you're going to get from the seminar today. So I don't want to hold too much time. I'll come back later. I'm going to introduce our first speaker. She is the founder and owner of TAD Realty. 20 plus years 20 plus years of experience, sold thousands of properties. So she owns a brokerage, owns a property management company, manages hundreds of rental properties. And now, so I told you she was an instructor at first, so she's already been established as a real estate class instructor, and now going around the world teaching about investing in real estate. You know, we got clients from Hawaii, literally all over the world. This woman is going around teaching about generational wealth and the importance of ownership in real estate. So without further ado, give a hand for Ms. April Drew.
Thank you, Kelvin. Kelvin always makes me seem so important. So,
You know you're a bomb.
but we'll go right into it. So, like you said, I have been practicing real estate for 29 years now, and it has always been my passion that the younger people, those people that are starting their lives, who start out with real estate investing. From early on in my real estate career, if I got a client and they were looking to purchase a single family home, I would ask them about their future plans, how would they pay for college, and how would they pay for their children to go to college, and things of that nature. And 9 times out of 10, they would end up buying a multi-unit opposed to a single family home. A single family home is a great thing to own. It is an asset. But why not own at least a 2-flat so that you could live for free? And your tenant is covering the mortgage, or at least covering the bulk of that mortgage. And this is the things that we do to teach you all how to move forward, and you don't struggle. Some of us saw our parents struggle as we grew up and paying the mortgages and this, that, and the other, and paying the rents, and that scared us. But the one thing about real estate is it is forever. People, no matter what they invent, people will always need a place to live. There's just not an invention that you can come up with that will take the place of that. It's so important that right now, I've got friends of mine that are investing in the metaverse. People are making real dollars, US dollars, investing in real estate in the metaverse, an imaginary place. They're paying $500-600 a month for their avatar to live in a condo in the metaverse. Somebody's collecting that $500-600. So that's why it's important that you learn how to do this, and the quicker you learn it, the earlier you learn it, the better off you are. I invested in real estate. My husband and I invested in real estate at the age, after he was 20, I was 22, he's an old man. So he's like 27. But our first house, the interest rate was 10%, and that was considered a great rate at the time. So, but we had a 2-bedroom apartment up in the attic of our house. So our mortgage was $600. We had a tenant that was paying $500. So now we went from paying $900 a month rent to $100, but it was ours. So you're already in real estate. Why not be on the side where you receive the payments instead of just paying out? So a lot of times people feel like, oh, it costs so much money to get a piece of property. You can get a piece of property with $1,000 down. The seller, the person that's selling the property, could cover up the rest of your down payment, or you can have a lender give you a grant. There's a lot of different ways that you can purchase property. And like I said, the earlier you get in on it, the better it is for you and those that come after you. Because it may not be, you may not feel like it's your job to change the trajectory of your family. But why not make it your job? Why not be the one to make a change in your life? So it's the easiest way to become a millionaire. So I got clients that have become millionaires and they didn't even know they were millionaires. Because in order to get to millionaire status, it's not necessarily that you've got $1 million in the bank, it's that you've got $1 million of assets. So your net worth is what determines whether or not you are a millionaire. And it's so easy to do. We've got people coming into the Chicagoland area from, like he said, all over the world. I have a client in Australia. He's closing on a 2-flat on Tuesday. He's going to make $800 a month. He's never seen the property. He won't see the property until he comes back here in January of next year is when his next trip is planned. By that time, he will have collected at least 4 months of rent. So it's not that it's rocket science. It's not that it takes a whole lot of money. What it takes is the desire to do better. And if you all have the desire to do better, we will put in the work with you, but we can't do the work for you. Some people let credit stop them from moving forward. Everybody has credit issues or have had credit issues at one time. It's one foot in front of the other. Same with credit. You can make the phone calls, you can pay it off, you can do whatever it is that you need to do to move that needle forward. But you gotta start making choices that put you in the right path. And as a college graduate, or even a trade school graduate, there are so many opportunities. This particular program simply requires your degree or certificate 3 weeks after your graduation, and that's just to get you settled in because you're gonna be partying and everything. So, and then it takes a job off. So if you've got those things, then you've got what it takes in order to move forward and to get this mortgage approved so that you can move forward and buy your property. While everybody else is struggling to pay those student loans, you could have a tenant paying you rent that covers your student loan payment. You can have a tenant or two that's giving you enough money so that you don't have to reach in your pocket and pay your mortgage. It's being paid by somebody else, which now allows you to go get the car that you want. And sometimes they can pay for that as well. So my kids were able to go to college, graduate, no student loans. Why? Because we have real estate. So imagine that. You have no student loans, you've got your degree, you've got your job, and you've got another source of income. Every millionaire that you could read about will have real estate in their portfolio. Every one of them. Even if they're not actively working with the real estate. You can bet their investment advisors have purchased real estate along the way. So it's a staple. It's almost, there's just no way of living life without being involved in real estate. So, and if you decide, okay, well, I don't want to deal with tenants, I agree with you, not me. But there are some people that love doing just that, and you let them do it. It'll cost you a couple dollars, but now you got the money coming in and not the headache. You got the asset and not the headache. And again, people will always need a place to live. So if you've got a job, let's just say that you went to a trade school and you've been working through the summers. That's your employment. If you didn't work during college, the mortgage industry counts the time that you were in college so that you can get the mortgage. If you have no money, but your parents are willing, or your aunts and uncles are willing to loan you the money to purchase the property, they accept that as well. If you are not so trustworthy and they don't want to hand you the money, they can send the money directly to the title company. And then the best thing of all, because you only need such a small down payment, a lot of our college graduates are leaving the closing table not only owning property, but with a check in their hand. So now you're getting paid to purchase a property that you're going to live in for free while you build your legacy. Not a bad thing, right? It sounds pretty easy. All you need is the desire to do. If you're willing to put in the work when it comes to making sure your credit is there or turning in the paperwork that's required, we're willing to do the rest of it. We'll walk you there hand in hand. If you purchase a property that needs renovation, we got you. Kelvin is a general contractor. I have a general contractor's license, and we have at least 10 other general contractors that work with us. You'll get the property, you'll renovate it. That's the best way to have the most equity, is to renovate your property. But some of us are not ready for that, and I can understand it, but it's a great thing. The other thing real estate investment will give you is legacy. There's no special skill to collect rent. Anybody can do it. You can pass down your property to your children, your nieces, your nephews, and then they can collect rent. That's what Rockefeller does. That's what Rothschild does. Why not you? It's the easiest thing to do. It's to own property and allow that property to take care of you. So I have a few rental units, and my husband and I, we travel 5 or 6 times a year. It's the easiest thing to let real estate and let the tenants pay for you the lifestyle that you want to live. You just have to have the desire to do it. And like I said, if you have that desire, if you have the ability to step out now and say, I want to take this chance, we're here to help. All you gotta do is say, I want to do it. If money is the issue, we can show you how to come up with that as well. There are so many grants available for first-time buyers, it's ridiculous. Like I said, we've had Calvin's son and two of his friends purchase properties, got checks at the table. And I'm not talking about a couple $100. They got $3,000 and up. So they didn't bring any money down, but they were able to leave there with money. So all your friends and relatives, you don't have, it's not just college graduates, it's anybody that has not purchased a piece of property in the last 3 years for themselves, qualify for the program. So again, just the desire to do so. So we're helping people every day do this, and they don't even live here. We've got strangers coming from around the country to your backyard and taking up the value of these properties. They're going to collect the monies that you all can collect. And they're doing it every day. Every day. Right now, we have a real estate conference that has about 3,500 active investors in Chicago. None of them live here. None. But you do. And guess what? They're invested in Inglewood, Woodlawn, all the neighborhoods we don't want to go to, they're making money there. Tell me the difference between a $100 bill that you collected from Inglewood and one you collected from Auburn Gresham or one you collected from Beverly. Is there a difference? When you go to the store, do they ask you what neighborhood the money came from?
As long as it's green, it's good.
So you can collect rents from Inglewood. I've got a client right now who collect $13,000 a month from Inglewood tenants. Even during COVID, they pay their rent. We got nurses and doctors and lawyers that live in Inglewood. Why? Because that's where their family is. That's where their friends are. That's where they can go in and buy a piece of property and sit on the equity. So a friend of mine is going to retire in 2 years. She's a school principal. Her house is, she paid $40,000 for the house. Her house is worth $300,000. It's in Inglewood. She said, when I retire, I'm going to sell the house and move out of state. But when she retires and she sells the house, she moved out of state with $300,000. What other legal asset is going to do that for you? When you're investing in your 401k and any other retirement plan you have, you don't know what they're doing with that money. So why not control your own retirement? With the equity. Even when properties supposedly crashed, people were still making money. Still making money in real estate. When the crash happened in 2008, I had not less than 10 clients pick up about 10 or 12 pieces of property for $25,000 and $30,000. Those properties right now are worth a couple $100,000, but they've been collecting rents from those properties this whole time. So it crashed for those that want to listen to the news. It was ample opportunity for those that were looking to make money and create legacies for their families. You just have to decide which side you want to be on. Once you make that decision, you give us a call. We'll take your rent gladly, but we'll also help you become a landlord, or at the very least, a property owner. Just believe and say you want to do it. That's it. That's all you got to do. Any questions for me? No? I'm not talking about y'all. And I absolutely love real estate, so I don't like dirt, but I love real estate.
Like, how you real estate, you don't like dirt?
I'm sorry.
I said, how you real estate, you don't like dirt?
I just don't want to touch it. So I appreciate you all listening to me. I don't know if Ricardo has gotten here yet. Ricardo's going to talk to you all about the loans. So he's here? Okay, he's gonna talk to you in more detail about getting a loan and what that entails. So without further ado, let's bring him on. So Mr. Kelly, you're gonna introduce him? Thank you, guys.
Have a good half day. Great information. If you have any questions for April now, we're gonna come back later. Ask some questions. Any questions for April? So our next speaker, he's a senior loan officer at Home Depot, and he had also over 25 years of experience. We've done hundreds and hundreds of deals together. He's funded millions of dollars in real estate, and now this is he has his own unique, innovative way of doing deals. If you have the interest in purchasing the property, there's multiple ways. He'll definitely make sure that it gets done. He'll see it through. So without further ado, Mr. Ricardo Warlow.
Yeah. Hey. Happy Saturday. How you guys doing?
Good.
Everybody doing great? I'm gonna stand right here just like perfect, so I can see everybody. Hold on down here, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
One more time. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
I need everybody to stand up. Everybody stand up. Real quick. We'll take it off. Real quick. Everybody up. Everybody up. I gotta sit on down. Oh, yeah, sit down. I'm gonna lead you up out the seats. It's a great day. It's a spectacular day. And today, I want to make sure you leave here knowing what you don't know right now. I want you to know that you don't need a credit score to buy a house. You can have literally no credit. It can say invalid, and it's still 3.5% down. Yes, you can. I want you to know that you don't need 20% down. 3.5%. 3.5%. You can have a 580 score and still put down 3.5%. You could literally be in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy for 12 months, the one-time payments, and still buy with 3.5%. You could be a college graduate who just graduated, got your college transcripts in one hand, a job offer letter in the other hand, and you can buy it right then. You don't have to. You can use all types of income. Social Security, to pension, foster care, to alimony, to child support, to your job. You can do it. At the end of the day, you're going to find out that nothing's really stopping you. For you. Now, some people aren't buying right now because they feel like the rates are kind of high. I agree. The rates are kind of high. Kind of high compared to where they were 2-3 years ago. Nowhere near where they were 10-12 years ago. They're much higher. Much higher. Rate is not that important. Yeah, it's extra payment, but it's not that important. Because when you rent, that's what rate you pay. 100%. Literally 100%. 100%. At the end of the year, you got nothing. Literally zero to show what you pay. Except for a landlord like me getting rich. That's it. Why not keep that your own house? Rent for 5 years, paying, let's say $2,000 a month. After 5 years, what do you have? Zero. Own for 5 years, paying $2,000 a month. What do you have after 5 years? Probably about $170,000 in equity, all day long, that you can pull out and do whatever you want to with it. Whether you buy the property, whether you, I don't know, fix it up, whether you, I don't know, go buy a freaking island. I don't know what you're gonna do, but it's your money. Instead of my money. Generational wealth is key. Keep this in mind. We were not allowed to buy until the 1960s. We couldn't. We could not. We weren't allowed. That's why we don't have much now. We weren't allowed to. And now it's all about people who know. Because the people who know. And people who don't. It's just that simple. It's about educating. educating and finding out what's going on out there, what's happening. Because people are buying. 95% of the richest people that have walked this earth have one thing in common. Real estate. Real estate. And the good thing is, you guys are here. So obviously you're interested in this. The great thing is, you can turn that light on any day. Any day. So they say the sky's the limit. Listen to me. I've already been in the sky. It ain't the limit. I'm telling you. There's a lot more out there. You can do a lot more. So only you can stop you. Only you. Always look in the mirror every day. Only me. No one's stopping Rakai. Nobody. Only me can stop me. Period. Same thing with you. So the question is, what's stopping you? There are renovation loans out there. There are properties out here we see all day, just boarded up, buildings boarded up. We can get those. Quarter on God. We can get those really cheap. And guess what? We don't care what conditions it's in when you get it. It can be on the demolition list. We don't care. As long as once you fix it up, it's good to go. So what I'm trying to tell you is you can go buy a cheap boarded up building, 4-unit, let's say for $30,000, put 180 in it, and now it's worth $350,000. Because you're getting by no bells and whistles. You're putting it all in yourself. So you get instant equity as opposed to somebody else fixing it up and then you pay a premium on it. And they make all that $200,000 difference. You can do it yourself. So I'm gonna ask you, I want you guys to tell me, okay, we said it first, what's stopping you from buying right now?
Me.
Okay? What's stopping you from buying right now? Anybody? Anybody? Gotta be something.
Right, I thought it was great, but I guess not.
Right. Hey, credit. What's stopping you?
Fear.
Fear? And fear is a big one. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with being a little fearful. You'd be crazy if you didn't have some fear because you haven't done it before. But I'm here to tell you, I'm literally the #1 FHA originator in this state. I'm literally, for the last 3 years, in the top 1% of all loan officers in America. That's right, I said in America. That being said, and you got the best dog on rippers here at TAG, we got you. All you got to do is want to do it. If you have the will, we'll find a way. And guess what? Even if you're not ready today, it don't mean you're getting ready the next day or next month. We're going to show you how to get there. We'll hold your hand and get you there. Get a building. If you ask me, first purchase should be a building, multi-unit building, all day long. All day. Why? Generational wealth. Somebody's got to pay you to own it, pay you to live there, and move out. My son, 22 years old, listen to me. He will have his, I just found out last night, it's crazy here. Just found out last night. He will have his college transcripts July 29th. Listen to me. He will get a 4-unit building by the end of August. Guaranteed. School transcripts. I'm gonna have to get, he's in Phoenix right now. I'm gonna have to get a job, offer letter for a remote job you can do anywhere in the country. And I'm gonna give him 4 units someplace here. 22. The youngest person I ever put into a building was 19. The oldest person I ever put into a building was 93. Only you stop you.
Say that again. Oldest.
The oldest was 93. 3-unit building. About 4 years ago. Maybe 6 years ago. If you own a business, get a building like this. Get a mixed use. A building that has a storefront or some type of business in the bottom, which can be your business, and then units up top. Listen, 3.5% down. All that. Daycare, hair, I don't know, hair salon, whatever. Only you can stop you. Questions from anybody? Go ahead.
Are the properties on the end, because I don't want to move, I want to live in a building in Englewood with my son. I don't want to
Let's go. April, they can show you wherever you please. You just gotta be in there. We go anywhere, wherever you want. I mean,
KMC,
No.
Hazel Crest, Lansing, Maxon.
How would you just tell us that?
Where you want to go? Right. It's like, no.
I don't want to be, I don't want to.
You want to know DuPage County, can you do that?
place in the state, any place in the country, is a wrap. Questions?
So what for the fund? You said 3.5.
3.5% down payment, yep. And if you got a 640 score, I'll look to get you some grant money.
So 3.5, sorry.
No, that's what it is, 3.5. So on 100,000, that's 3,500. On 200,000, that's $7,000. On 300,000, that's like 10. Yep, 3.5%. What you got? Go ahead.
If you have 401k money already saved up, you use that as well, right?
Yep, sure can. Go ahead.
Can you repeat the question and answer so they can hear?
What was it?
Repeat it.
Oh. Can you use your 401k money in order to buy? For down payment or whatever? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. What else you got? Anybody? What's stopping you? What else you got? Anything? Anybody? Shoot, we got a bunch of pump buyers in here then. Right? All right, so do this. Grab your cell phone. Everybody grab your cell phone out real quick. Go to your web page, your browser. I want you to put this in there. Rhino, which is RHINO, approvals, APPROVALS.com. RhinoApprovals.com. You put that in there, you see a gentleman come up with a blue suit and a colored beard. What am I doing this color now? That's me. That is your magic link. Whenever you get ready, all you gotta do is click apply now and then click purchase. Fill out the application, takes like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. It'll come back to me automatically. Then I'll reach back out. That's rhinoapprovals.com. Go ahead.
So I got a question. Can you talk about young people who can purchase out of high school, not necessarily college graduate, but out of high school as well?
All I need is job history. I have a young lady right now. She's in high school. She's 18. When she graduates this year, she will, because she's been working for 2 years. She's gonna go full time, and I'm gonna get her into a house. So as long as I have a 2-year history, yes, you can. And you're over 18. Yes, you can buy. Yes. Typically, most high school students don't work that throughout, so it might take a year. But in this case, she did. She was part time, but she went full time every summer. And then once she graduates, she's gonna be full time again. She's gonna buy. She'll probably be 19 before we close, but still pretty young. All right. Why wait? Good.
Kind of speak on, you brushed over your son. You said you're gonna bring him back, and he needs the job offer. You said something about remote.
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's COVID. You can work remote, so he'll probably get a remote job. He doesn't necessarily have to be in Illinois per se. He will be, but he won't be. No. But
Had a question. In regards to people who aren't recent graduates, like people who have PhDs and master's degrees, is it the same? How does that work? Is it the same criteria?
Well, how long if they don't need it, at that point they already had a job.
Right.
So it won't matter.
Okay, so they just come and just call you.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant man. What else we got? Who wants to build it? Anybody want to build it? Building is key, man. Hey, guess what?
You're trying to get houses first, bro.
It's
A lot of people trying to get houses first.
Listen, you better get the building first. You get that building first. Now all of a sudden, you move in for a few months or whatever, and you don't want to live in that building no more. Now you got all these bricks to help you pay for your new house. So the house being paid for and the building paid for. And it's much easier to go from a building to a house and a house to a building. And guess what? It's easier to get you into a building. Why? Because I get to use rental income from the building, if it's vacant currently or not, to help you qualify for more. So if you qualify for a $200,000 house, I guarantee you'll probably qualify for a $450,000 to $500,000 building. Morning. Go ahead.
It's probably a broad question for you and April. How would you work with like a group of people who wanted to buy property? Like I think I've heard in the past that joint venture.
It's easy.
Okay.
You understand all one application.
Can you explain like how that would go?
Literally, just like it was one person. They all one application, we get them approved, and we close. It's nothing different. Nothing at all different. Except instead of one person, you got three. Everything else is exactly the same. Nothing different at all. I'm one day.
It's nothing different based on the qualifications and completing of the mortgage application, but when you go in to actually operate the property, it's better if you're doing it under an entity to allow protection for each individual owner. Unless it is family members and you're doing this as a family purchase, then you will keep the individual's names. So it just really depends on, your reasoning behind having multiple parties on the loan.
Questions?
But we do that too.
Was it a bit of a loan better if you have multiple people?
Not necessarily, it just depends on if they're bringing more income and less debt, yeah, but if they're bringing a lot more debt, then they might actually hinder you. So we would look at it. If you were thinking about that, we would look at it. And if you have a spouse, what I would say is, if you qualify by yourself, do it by yourself. Leave a spouse open, do something else. If you need a spouse, income, definitely add a spouse. But if you do it by yourself, you better do it by yourself, add a spouse to title, and let the spouse get something else.
Everybody's entitled to an FHA loan. Everybody.
Ricardo, you made mention, first time home buyer, but you put something else to what you said. So living in a home for 25 years. So when I decided to purchase again, would I qualify or no?
What do you go down to that? Sorry?
Living in it,
But what are you gonna do with it?
or the rental?
Okay. So you qualify, but not the rent money, because you can't currently own a home. But you can own a home, sell it tomorrow, and get grant money by your next home. Sell that one and get grant money by your next home. But you can't own a home and get a home and use grant money.
But you can't get the FHA, right?
As long as the current is not FHA, yes.
So if a current property is conventional, no matter how long you live in it, you can still, the next one can be FHA.
Correct.
And do you have to live in it?
You're supposed to move into that FHA.
For 1 year.
There's not really a quote unquote time limit on that, really, per se. Some people say, here's the papers at 6 months. It's really not I wouldn't try to hold somebody to a certain time limit necessarily. Questions?
What about student loans? How does that affect that?
Student loans, good question. If you're not making a payment and it's deferred or forbearance, we're gonna count 0.5% or whatever the balance is of your issue. But what I'm gonna ask you to do is to contact them, not change a thing, but have them send you an email on what your income-based repayment will be. That's gonna be lower than 0.5%, and I'll use it instead. Income-based repayment.
The men with child support cases,
Goodbye.
what are the options?
Just like anybody else, it's gonna be debt. Another payment is gonna put in their debt. It's a monthly payment, and they just have to qualify using that in their debt, as if it was any other bill.
So it would, like if it was a car, it would be similar, the same, if it was a car or a credit card.
Same thing. Just get a bill. I don't care if it's child support. I'm not judging.
So what if I was delinquent, I don't know what they call it, when you ain't paid?
As long as they're in a payment plan,
Okay.
for that vacancy, I'm good. Yeah.
What is the net income ratio as far as being
I go up to 58%. 58 or over. Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah, we do.
So you do conventional and
I
everything?
do conventional, FHA, VA, I do it all. I'm gonna give you the best option for what you're looking to do. And I'll be able to tell you almost immediately.
Can you give a little detail about the VA loans?
Any better to him?
And who qualifies?
Veterans? Okay, so veterans, you don't need a credit score for the VA loan at all. It's no money down. Thank you for your service. What branch?
Army,
What's your MLS?
42 hours.
Where's your album? What's that?
Admin.
Okay, I'm with that. I was 31 bigger. Good stuff. So no money down, no mortgage insurance. I mean, the VA loan's the best loan in the nation. You ask me. On veterans get it. So definitely use it. And there's no cap. Meaning there's no loan amount limit for you. So whatever you qualify for, you can get. Literally, you can get. Single family, 2 flat, 3 flat, 4 flat. You think about getting a building?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a building as a veteran, and we're using rental income to help you qualify, you will need an additional 6 months in reserves. And what that means is whatever the mortgage payment will be, let's say it's $2,000, you need $12,000 somewhere in the liquid account. Just because you're a veteran. Yeah, because you're a veteran. But it's still great, it's still really good. Very, very good. Questions? Any answers?
What about the average person? Will they look in your reserve?
The average person will need three months in reserves if you're down to 3 or 4 units. Regardless. Anybody about 3 or 4 units needs 3 months in reserves. No matter what you're doing.
You know, reserve, I mean, how long does it have to be in the bank?
Reserves don't have to be in the bank for any amount of time. But it has to be 3 months of whatever mortgage payment is. So whatever mortgage is, times 3. Okay?
Can it be in your 401?
Yes, it can be. As a matter of fact, you can just show your 401k statement and they'll just take care of it. You're good. Don't have to pull it out, don't do anything with it. Just show the statement.
What about, sign-on job bonuses?
I'm sorry?
How would that work? Good sign-on job bonuses? Can you?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as I can document it, I can use it. So yes, I can use that.
So those that are watching us live stream, what other sources can you use to have the reserves or your down payment funds? So you can use gift funds, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't know what that is.
So for down payment, you can get a gift from a relative, close friend, meaning they're gonna actually give you the money for your down payment. Now, the only thing about that is, it was never a good deal, but we will need to see their bank statement to show they have the money to give you. Full bank statement, nothing blacked out, nothing crossed out. You got to see that they have the money to actually give to you. So it could be a gift from a close friend, relative family. You can do that. 401k, simple as that. You have your 401k statement, you see your 401k statement, that'll do it. That's not side.
I don't have a 401k, but I have other retirement, like if I'm with the railroad, and they have their own retirement accounts, and then I've got the police department that has deferred compensation.
As long as it's liquid, if it can be liquid, and you can touch it, then we can use it. But it can't be one of those ones where you can get only if you quit. It has to be liquid. It's gotta be liquid. But, you got something?
No, I did that. I have a potential client. It's a mother and daughter. Her mother is already retired, and they both don't have, I would say, substantial enough credit to everything to actually pursue an opportunity like owning a building. But they're looking to own one. What could you do for a family in that type of circumstance?
Let's give them a clue.
You get them approved?
Yeah.
Okay. So is there any like minimum credit score that they would need still?
Well, it depends. 580 is where I want to be or higher.
Okay.
Because I can do between 520 and 579, but that's 10% down. And I don't want to do that.
Okay. So 580, you really don't have to put anything down.
No. If you always put something down, I should have that. 580 is 3.5% down.
3.5% down at 580, and then between 520 and 570, 10% down.
579.
579?
10% down.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the reserve for 3 or more, so what if it's a 2 unit? Is
No
it still
reserves.
You don't need reserves for 2 units?
It's 3 or 4.
Can you get something with nobody there?
If you're a veteran, You want to serve the country?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's just FHA, conventional.
No money down, only veterans. Only veterans can do that. Only veterans. That's one person getting that.
So there's also a little repay loan.
We talk about that. Renovation. But
With the 3 or 4 unit buildings, do you have to have the 3 months in reserve as well as put down on 3.5%?
correct, yes.
Remember those per,
Huh?
What's the closing timeline on 2 or 3 days?
It depends on if this is, if you got a great contractor, the quickest one I've done is like 25 days. So I'd say between 35 and 50 days, just depending on back and forth, so all the people involved.
Can you explain in detail what is a 203K loan, and how it's important?
A 203K loan is a renovation loan. And that's the loan I talked about earlier, where you can buy a property, we get the money to buy it and fix it up. And what we do is we give draws to the contractor, but you pick your own contractor. They just have to be licensed and bonded. We get up to 6 draws. And so let's say you go into all demolition. We'll come in, check it out, make sure it's good, and we'll give them a portion of this money. We'll do a whole other things. We'll come in, check, make sure it's all good. We'll give them a little bit of this money. And you can also, depending on the type of work you're doing and how major it is, you can actually finance in up to 6 months of your payments. So that way you're not paying rent, because if you can't live there yet, we don't want you to pay the mortgage here and then rent where you're staying. So you can finance up to 6 months of payments into that while your work is getting done. And that can be on the, and listen, with that, you can do all types of stuff. You can take a 3-unit building and make it a single family home. You can do that. You can take a 4-unit building and make it into a 2-flat. You can do that type of stuff like that. 3.5% down.
So when you combine the loans, if you.
It's one loan.
It's one
One
loan.
loan.
Okay, so my question is, if you tell me that I qualify for $100,000, will 50 of it be for the purchase and 50 be for the
Not necessarily. If I told you to qualify for 100 and you found something for 20, then you put 80 in it.
Okay.
You get me?
So I was thinking that the 100 had to be divided up between the rehab loan and the purchase.
Think about the rehab loans this. You can do something huge, like they did here, and this, I don't know something before, but this place is immaculate right now. You do something like this, or you can just change the bathroom out. Don't have to be done, you can be on today.
so when you're purchasing under FHA or even conventional guidelines, how much can the seller give?
When you work so, with FHA, the seller can give 6% in seller credits. Sorry about that. And with VA, they can give 4% in seller credits. With conventional, they can give 3% in seller credits. So, the seller can pay up to 3% conventional, up to 4% VA, and up to 6% with FHA.
Which covers your 3.5%.
No, it comes with closing costs. The seller can't pay the 3.5%.
I thought you only had to have 1.5% of your own funds.
The buyer has to show they have 3.5%.
So, yeah.
Right. But the seller cannot pay for that. They can go towards down seller credits, tax credits, and closing costs. They cannot pay. They cannot pay for the buyer.
Anybody questions?
Good.
I'm gonna get some cards for you guys. If you have any questions.
All right, round of applause for Ricardo. So, one last thing before, and I'm not sure if you covered it, but when we were talking about, when you graduate from high school, graduate from college, and you qualify to purchase, you don't have an expectation to have the money you were referring to. So the same way with college kids, college students ask for money every month. We have to send it anyway, paying rent, paying bills, or whatever the case. Parents are going to parents is watching, talking to you. You sending your student, your child money anyway. You already paying tuition, which is in the thousands. Some of y'all paying rent, you paying their living expenses. So once they graduate and they want to purchase, and they may need that 3.5% down, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, that number is less than what you sent them already, right? So it won't be no question. If they ask for 5,000, just pay 10 on the semester. So just kind of keep that in mind. I don't know if you cover that, but don't panic when you graduate and your pocket not right. That's part of the gift money. When you graduate and you're working on building income, parents, family, close friends can give you the money as long as they follow the correct channels. So one last thing we wanted to do to help, we want to make sure everybody understands and keep it practical. So we're gonna have April do an example on the board of what it will look like. She's gonna do a run through, a realistic example of what it would look like, purchasing a building, fresh out of college.
Hey, project.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So if you are purchasing a property, I'm gonna just do a quick run through. If you're gonna purchase a property, I'll do one that needs renovation and one that does not. Okay? So if you're going to purchase a property for $100,000, and this one needs rehab. This one is complete. Your rehab property needs another $100,000 in rehab. That puts you at $200,000. Times 3.5%, $6,500. Of the $6,500, you can get, this is your shutdown payment, does not count your closing costs. But you can get this money from any relative, friend, or your job to give you a bonus. It could be any legal form of income. If you work for yourself, let's say that you do hair, you braid, you do this, if you can show that you've been depositing those funds on a regular basis, it's counted as income for you. And you can get this money from here. Now the trick is, if you purchase a property for $100,000 and you put $100,000 into it, this property is now worth, hopefully you did a good purchase and it's worth a minimum of $250,000. Which means you've already made $50,000. Because you got $50,000 in equity in this particular property. You haven't moved in, you haven't done anything. And let's just say that this is a 2-flat with 3 bedrooms. Right now, your 3-bedroom is renting for a minimum of $1,350. Your mortgage on this $200,000 at 7% interest is going to be right around $1,700. So you are going to come out of pocket with about $400 a month. So you've already made $50,000. Now you've reduced your living expenses to $400 a month. And if you have 3 units here, you're not coming out of pocket at all. You're living for free because your tenants are paying your mortgage and your utilities. This is why we're telling you to invest in real estate. If you purchase something that's already completed, you're buying this at $200,000. The only thing you've lost is this equity position. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're buying it at $200,000, it's worth $200,000. Unless you get a savvy realtor that can negotiate your purchase, you'll have a little bit of equity here. At the very least, you'll have that $6,500 in equity because that's going to be your down payment, so you won't owe that amount. But you're still going to collect the income. So there's still no wrong way to do this. Got it? You're still coming up with the same down payment, same closing costs, same address, everything is the same except your position. Any questions?
You just mentioned grant money.
I didn't mention the grant money. If you got, IDA is one of the most popular grants giving, down payment assistance right now. There are several. So IDA gives you $7,500 to purchase the property. So if you got $7,500 to purchase this property from IDA, let's do it this way. We're gonna take this $200,000 and you got 3% closing costs, which is gonna be another $6,000, right? The seller's gonna pay this. IDA's gonna give you $7,500. It's gonna be $13,500, right? You need $12,000 to close. You just made $1,500. And if you did a renovation loan, you got $50,000 in equity. You got at least $1,300 in income coming the very next month, and you're walking away from the table with $1,500. There's the Chicago Block Grant that gives you $10,000 towards your purchase. There's the building block grant, which you can definitely get if you're doing a renovation. They give you $15,000 towards your purchase. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go in and purchase properties and make money at the purchase, as well as have that equity position. If you buy a property that's already renovated, you can still get the IDA grant, and you can get the Chicago Block Grant, but at that point it's $3,500 to $5,000. But under both circumstances, the seller can cover your costs. The seller can pay up to, on a conventional loan, the seller can pay up to 4%. On an FHA loan, they can pay up to 5% of your costs. So if you need 6.5 down payment and closing costs, and the seller can pay 5 of that, you're in a pretty good position. But what the one key that you have to know is that you have to show the money in the bank, meaning that you have to show access to 6.5% of whatever your final purchase price is. So if that's $200,000, then you have to be able to show 6.5% of that. You will not use all of it, but you have to be able to show it. And you can show it using your retirement benefits, you can show it using savings, you can show it using a gift from whomever's giving you the gift, but it's easy to show. But you make money each way you go. Any questions?
How do you apply for these grants?
John didn't ask the math question.
How do you apply for the grant?
The grant is going to be based on whichever lender you work with. So, because they have to have access to the money. They have to be approved to the federal government or whomever is giving the grant in order to disperse the monies. The other thing is you can get an agricultural grant without buying farmland. You would need to buy in unincorporated areas such as creeks and places like that. But they will give you monies as well, and their money is at a much lower interest rate. So a lot of the grants that I'm talking to you about, they do require you to occupy the property. IDA requires you to occupy for 5 years. If you refinance or sell within that 5 years, you got to pay the money back. The Chicago Block Grant, if you get the $10,000 grant, they require you to occupy for 3 years, and if you move or refinance within that time, you have to pay the money back. But if you stay there, you can move 3 years in 1 day. You're good. You don't have to pay the money back. It goes from a loan to a grant. There's no monthly payments on the money, so it sits there until you decide what you want to do. Any other questions?
The math is wrong, that will be 7,000. We would have 17,000, 7,000.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But you get the point, right?
Yes.
All right.
A question, how
Thank you, guys. Mark, please eat the food. Take it with you, well.
Emery, if you click on the little smiley face,
One last thing, so,
it's, I don't know,
want to give some information
pictures up here.
for anyone that may be interested in being a broker. Show of hands, anybody interested? Becoming a licensed real estate broker?
You never be raising my hand.
If you don't have any other questions, we are all good. If you look at the flyer, look at the flyers that's the post, you have the contact information that you can reach us. We have a team of brokers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 or 5 here with us now. If you have any questions or if you want to contact us once you leave, the contact information is there, and we will partner you with one of our brokers. Get you guys started.
Hey, Miss, at the front just came in. Did you have any questions?
Oh, yeah, we got to give you time.
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
just glad it's me.
It's all right. You can answer all the questions you want.
I'm sure it's something you wanted to hear on those.
I was just kind of looking here. I want to read one more information because I'm in the process of like down to my credit card, and I don't know what you guys like, or like what it says, like what comes to be like, what all I would need to make passive income, I make sure income with so like something that they make good to be like a broker, that I would want to be like I don't know what like a broker is. You don't get passive income.
So passive income indicates that you're not actively doing anything to receive the money.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm just saying, like, if there's something like brokers may be able to do, like, if I was looking at, I don't know what they do, but like, if I was looking at auction money, brokers may have that, how would you do it, but if I don't have that access, then I don't have to work with the broker. You get what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying, and that's nice to have, so I don't know.
So, but even if you did not become a broker to do it, you start out by, the first purchase should be a 4-year. The FHA is gonna allow you to put down 3.5% to buy 4 units. Why would you buy anything less? So because then you can take that 4 unit, rent it out, live there for whatever time is required for you to live there, and then you take that money and you purchase your next property. So hopefully you will hold that property for at least 1.5 years, then you can refinance it into a conventional loan, and then you go and you buy yourself another 4 unit or 3 units. And once you do that, you just repeat the process until you have the number of units that you want. So, and you just keep doing it with a reduced down payment as long as they will allow you to do it. Absolutely. So you can, so the rule is that you can only have one FHA loan at a time. That's the general rule. There are some caveats. If you have an FHA loan that has 20% equity in it, and you can afford the payment here and the next payment, you can get an FHA loan. So if you have a 4 unit and you live there, let's say 6 months, and it has 20% equity, and you decide, okay, I don't want to live with my tenants anymore, I'm going to go get a single family. You can absolutely do that. And use the FHA, but the 4 unit pay for not only itself, but the single family. So you can, now it would be difficult for you to keep the FHA loan on the 4 unit and then go buy another 4 unit or 3 unit if you did not, you would have to refinance this. So because at that point, you are an investor that's trying to take advantage of the system. But there is a way to work that system so that you can still buy your second floor unit using FHA financing, and the key to that is to refinance out of the initial FHA. Nope. Everybody is entitled to an FHA loan, which is why when Ricardo said if you are a married couple and one qualifies for the loan that you're trying to get, that individual purchase using FHA, and then the other spouse can use their FHA at a different time on a different property, because everybody qualifies for an FHA. So just be careful when you're doing that to make sure that you are following the laws, and whoever you're working with are actually following the laws, because mortgage fraud is real. So, and I'm sure the powers that be have thought about all these scenarios, but there is a way to do it so that it is legal and you can still take advantage of the low down payment and the additional income. So, you can't go wrong with additional income. Just can't go wrong. You could also use this to flip properties. So a lot of people call it house hacking. And you could take a 6-unit building and convert it to 4 units. And now you have into the commercial real estate game, and so you have more income. And you now have the experience that you need in order to buy commercial properties. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. You can buy a single family home, use the 203K, fix it up, live there a few months, and sell it and take the profit and just do it again. So there's a lot of different ways that different investors use to graduate into being able to come up with those 20% down payments and stuff like that. So I've got a client that started out with $1,500. So he started about 2012. He's now got 7 properties. So you can do it. Like I said, you just need the desire, you want to do it, and actually take the first step.
Any other questions? I think I got one more that I didn't hear. So we talked about graduates. You know about the graduates, and you know about if you did go to school, but you just had 2 years of work history, and you have to file taxes. Also, we got some other people who didn't finish school. So if they went to 1 year, then like they came home and got to work, they can qualify as well. 1 year of college transcript and then 1 year of employment. Makes it 2, and they qualify to purchase. So a lot of times we don't finish, we school like so you come home, when you come home, get to work, do a year of work, and they qualify as well. They don't need a degree. All right.
Like, should we say if you need to go to school to qualify for the
No, so the whole premise of the gathering today is based on college graduates being able to purchase right out of college. They don't have to work for 2 years and then make the purchase. They can use the time that they were in school to qualify to purchase. So, yes.
Sorry, what about someone who's interested in purchasing property for transitional housing?
So you can purchase the property and as long as it's allowed within the zoning, within the area that you purchase the property, you can do whatever you want to do. The mortgage company is not going to restrict what you do with the property as long as you pay the mortgage. So, but if you use the FHA to do it, you just have to live it. So you have to live with the people that's transitioning. So, but it's possible, because just think, if you get a 3 unit, even if you get a 2 unit and you finish the basement, you can live in the basement and do whatever you want to do with those other 2 units. And a lot of times people say that they don't want to live in the basement. But I'm gonna tell you, your money is coming from the first floor and the second floor. So if you could just go for 1 year and live in that basement, and imagine how much money you will save because you lived in the basement. You got to live today like nobody else, so that you can live tomorrow like nobody else.
I like that. Say that again.
So that's the Dave Ramsey. That ain't me. That's the Dave Ramsey. But it's the truth. Just think about how quick a year goes. A year goes by like this. So if you lived in the basement for free, as opposed to taking up one of the units, that's a minimum of $1,000 extra that you can collect. Because you decide you live in, and then you're gonna move out of the basement and hopefully into whatever it is you really want to live in. So see, the trick is to buy the income property that you can afford, so that you can then take your tenants' money and buy the house that you want. Because right now you can't afford the house you want. But when you're collecting those rents, now you can get what you want. So just imagine when you're looking for your first car. Hey, you want this Cadillac over here, this BMW, but you can only afford the Chevy. But if you got a tenant paying you $900 a month, you're going to pay a Cadillac, right? Because they're going to pay for it. That's all I'm saying. Use the real estate to cover the bills that you have. If you got a high card student loan, none of y'all should have student loans right now, when many loans that they was forgiven just now. So, but if you got a high student loan and you struggling to pay it, don't go rent something. Don't go buy a single family. Buy a building so that the tenant can take that burden away from you. It's just that simple.
Any other questions?
So that's all I got to do, y'all. Get you some real estate, and then we can all have a big party. Celebrate. We got a big wall downstairs that's for our successful investors. Put your face up there because we don't want your relatives coming to borrow money from you. And we put a picture of the building up there. This is your success story. I would love for you all to be a part of that. So, like I told you, we've got people coming from all over the world buying a property right here in your backyard. No reason you can't do it too. So, and we're not gonna let credit stop us. We're not gonna let income stop us. We're just gonna find a way to do it. All right, that's it. I can talk now.
I can beat the school, y'all. Get all this down.
Thank y'all for coming out. Sorry, I got short. Oh, okay. Charlie.